By the time my daughter handed me her husband's gambling debts, I'd already decided to disappear. The doorbell rang 3 times. Sharp, insistent, not a request, a demand. Through the study window, their white Tesla gleamed under my porch lights, a monument to the $420,000 I'd given them over 12 years. Before I opened the door, a memory flashed. Ashley, at 7, sobbing after the divorce. "Don't you love me anymore, Daddy?" I bought her that pink bike the next day. Tears stopped. Smile returned. That was the first time I used money to cover pain instead of healing it. The pattern started there. My daughter stood on the porch with her practiced smile, the one that never reached her eyes. Behind her, Tyler scrolled through his phone, checking scores, tracking bets. They didn't look happy. They looked like collectors. "Hey, Dad." Ashley's hug lasted too long, transactional. Tyler brushed past, heading straight for my leather chair, my chair. His designer loafers clicked across marble I'd paid for in a house I'd helped buy. "Can I get you anything?" I offered. "Let's cut to the chase, Dave." Tyler didn't look up from spreading papers on my coffee table. "We've got a situation." Not David, not Mr. Carson, just Dave. Ashley's fingers found the pearl necklace I'd given her for her 30th birthday. She always touched it before asking for money. "Dad, you know we wouldn't come unless it was absolutely necessary." Her voice pitched higher. "You've always said family comes first. We're family. What happened to the Round Rock property?" I kept my tone neutral. I'd given them $85,000 for that down payment 2 years ago. "Market corrections," Tyler said dismissively. "But that's not why we're here." Ashley's wedding ring spun around her finger. My mother's ring. She'd been spinning it since age 12, every time she lied. "Tyler's been working on this new venture, tech startup, very promising." "How much?" The grandfather clock ticked through 3 seconds of silence. "It's really not that much for someone with your assets," Tyler said, leaning back in my chair. "We need $150,000 in our account by noon tomorrow." The room tilted. My migraine started its familiar throb behind my left eye. $150,000, delivered as casually as ordering coffee. I remembered her college graduation, 22 years old, UT degree in hand, bright future ahead. "Dad, everyone's getting new cars. Can I get a BMW, just a 3 Series? I'd planned a Honda Accord, reliable, practical, appropriate, but that look in her eyes, that thread of disappointment. "You deserve it after everything you've been through," I'd said. What I meant was, after the divorce I put you through, the BMW cost $45,000. The lesson I failed to teach? Priceless. "Dad, we wouldn't ask if we had any other option." Ashley's manufactured tears started. The mortgage, the kids' schools, you know how expensive everything is. I knew. I paid those bills. $15,000 per child per semester at St. Stephen's. The mortgage I'd covered with that down payment. Tyler stood, walked to my bar without invitation, poured himself my Macallan 25, $200 a bottle, drunk like cheap whiskey. "These aren't bank people, Dave." He swirled the scotch. "They're serious individuals. Would hate for this to affect your reputation, or the dealerships." The threat hung there. My blood pressure spiked. "Daddy, you look pale," Ashley calculated. Then she said the words that changed everything. "If you actually loved me, you'd help us. That's what real fathers do." Margaret's warning at the wedding echoed back. 5 years ago, my ex-wife had pulled me aside. "David, you need to stop. You're not healing her. You're crippling her. Every check you write is another year she won't learn to stand on her own." I'd dismissed it as bitterness from the divorce. Standing in my living room while my daughter demanded $150,000, I finally understood. My ex-wife had been right all along. I looked at them both. My daughter, now a stranger. Her husband, a parasite who'd never pretended otherwise. The clock chimed 10. Fine. Tomorrow. Now leave. Ashley misread my exhaustion as surrender. She rushed forward for another embrace. I stepped back. Tyler extended his hand, gripping too hard. We knew you'd understand, Ashley said, gathering her designer bag. Family first, right? They walked out. Tyler's hand possessively on Ashley's back, like poker chips he'd just won. I watched their tail lights disappear, then waited exactly 5 minutes. I made the first call. Tom, they finally did it. My lawyer answered immediately. The property transfer paperwork was filed 3 weeks ago, David. They just don't know it yet. I hung up with Tom and walked to my home office. The migraine had shifted from pain to cold clarity. My laptop showed an email from 3 weeks ago. Reservation confirmed, Fredericksburg Ranch, March 17th, April 17th. The retirement property would serve a different purpose now. I called American Airlines. The morning flight moved to 6:45 a.m. First class, 1 passenger. My safe opened with a combination I'd never shared. Inside, 12 years of financial documentation. Every check, every wire transfer, every loan that was supposed to be the last one. Tyler's promissory note from December 2022. This is the final request. I swear. Ashley's Instagram posts from the past year, printed and dated, shopping sprees at the Domain, dinners at Uchi, weekend trips to Napa, all while claiming poverty. I found an old Amazon box and arranged 3 document sets with precision. First, the deed showing they'd never owned the house. Ashley signed in 2020, never reading past page 2. Second, the loan history, $420,000 over 12 years, every payment documented. Wedding, 2020, $45,000, house down payment, 2021, $85,000, Tyler's startups, $105,000, Mercedes leases, $38,000, credit card bailouts, $67,000, emergency loans, $80,000. Third, legal notices Tom had prepared months ago. At the bottom, a USB drive with tonight's security footage, Ashley's rehearsed tears, Tyler's threats, their performance, captured in high definition. On top, 1 note. You wanted it tomorrow. Here's what you're really getting. Packing took 30 minutes. 2 suitcases, tropical weight clothes, documents, medications. My dealership manager received a brief email. Mike, family emergency. You're in charge. Details. Monday. In the hallway, I paused at our family portrait from 5 years ago. Ashley's smile looked genuine then, or maybe I'd wanted to believe it was. I lifted the frame, turned it around, rehung it. The blank backing seemed more honest. I removed my UT class ring, the one Ashley used to play with as a child. It went into the box. 1 more call. Linda answered immediately. David, Tom called. Are you really doing this? Should have done it years ago. She's our daughter. She was our daughter, Linda. I don't know who she is anymore. Silence. Then, the Fredericksburg place. You'll be safe there? It's just a long vacation. Mike can handle the dealerships. Tom handles everything else. She'll try to find you. Let her try. We said goodbye without sentimentality. Linda understood what Ashley had become, maybe before I did. Mothers always know. At 11:30 p.m., I stood in my kitchen studying the refrigerator covered in grandchildren's artwork. Stick figures labeled, Grandpa and me, fishing at Lake Travis. I removed the fishing picture, folded it, placed it in my wallet. The children weren't responsible for their parents' choices. I set the box on the porch table where they'd find it tomorrow. My alarm, 4:30 a.m. 6 hours until my new life. 6.5 until theirs fell apart. The alarm cut through darkness. No hesitation. 30 years of dealership meetings had trained me to wake instantly. Coffee already programmed. Colombian dark roast, the kind Ashley complained was too strong back when she visited for reasons other than money. Through the kitchen window, Austin's skyline began its slow awakening. Somewhere out there, Ashley and Tyler slept in the house I'd paid for, dreaming about money they'd never see. The Silverado purred to life. I'd chosen it over the Lexus. Too many memories of Ashley in that car. West Austin streets lay empty except for garbage trucks. I drove past Ashley's neighborhood. Every house dark, peaceful. At Bee Cave and Walsh Tarleton, I considered calling Linda again, but didn't. Tom would handle that conversation. Mopac stretched ahead. I passed all 3 dealerships: Carson Ford, Carson Chevrolet, the flagship on 290. Mike would change my lobby photo soon enough. Austin Bergstrom appeared through morning mist at 5:47. Tommy at valet looked surprised. "Early flight, Mr. Carson?" "Change of plans." I handed him the keys and an envelope. "Mike Ramirez picks this up Monday. First class counter." Michelle checked me in for dozens of business trips. Cancun today, 6:45 connection to Fredericksburg. As she processed my bags, I pulled out a sealed envelope. "Someone might come looking later. Ashley Carson. Verify her ID before giving her this. Storage unit key inside." Michelle's professionalism never wavered. "Of course, Mr. Carson." The storage unit held 20 years of her childhood belongings, things she'd never bothered to collect. Let her decide if memories were worth more than money. TSA pre-check moved efficiently. Through the scanner, belt off, shoes in bin. The mundane ritual felt surreal against deliberate life demolition. At the gate, I ordered coffee. My phone showed 7 missed calls from Ashley, 3 from Tyler, 12 texts. Ashley's last: "Dad, call me back. Having weird dreams about money." I powered the phone off, removed the SIM card, dropped both in the trash. First-class passengers for Flight 447 now boarding. Each step down the jet bridge felt lighter. I'd carried Ashley's weight for 25 years. Every step away felt like setting down a burden I'd forgotten wasn't mine. "Excuse me." A familiar voice made me freeze at my seat. Linda stood in the aisle, designer luggage in hand, looking exactly as composed as during our divorce 25 years ago. She settled into 2C across the aisle. Close enough to talk, far enough to maintain boundaries. "Tom called," she said simply. "Thought you might need backup. It's not your fight anymore. She's still my daughter. Someone should be there when she lands." "Lands?" "I bought the condo next to yours 6 months ago. Tom handled everything. I've been planning this as long as you have." Before I could respond, the captain's voice: "Slight delay for final passenger." My chest tightened. Had Ashley figured it out? The door opened, just a harried businessman squeezing past to economy. "Did you tell her?" I asked Linda. "Tell her what? That her father stopped enabling her? That her husband's a parasite?" "No, David. She'll figure it out herself. Around noon, actually." The door closed. 7:05. Pushback. Engines roaring. Austin shrank below. Hills and lakes becoming abstract geometry. Somewhere down there, Ashley's alarm was going off. In 4 hours, she'd arrive at my house. In 5, she'd find the box. In 6, her old life would be dismantled. The flight attendant appeared. "Business or pleasure?" I considered the question. "Neither. It's justice." Linda laughed. First genuine laugh I'd heard from her in years. "That's the David I married. Welcome back." Below, Texas disappeared under clouds. At exactly noon, when Ashley expected $150,000, I was having lunch above the Caribbean. Both of us finally free. Geen. I learned what happened next through Tom's security footage, sent 3 days later. I watched from the Fredericksburg ranch porch, Texas prairie stretching endlessly. Timestamp, 12 p.m., March 16th. Their Mercedes pulled into my driveway with the confidence of people collecting what they're owed. Tyler checked his phone. Basketball scores, probably planning his next bet. Ashley applied lipstick, the same red from every previous ask. They walked to my door like they owned it. Tyler carried an empty Hermes briefcase, waiting for cash that would never come. Ashley rang at 12:16. Normal ring, not last night's demanding triple press. 10 seconds, then longer. Tyler cupped hands against the window. His car's gone. He's got 5 cars, Ashley said, maybe getting cash from the bank. They tried the door at 12:18. Ashley's keys scraped, unable to find purchase. Tom's paralegal had changed locks at 7 a.m. The confusion on Ashley's face almost made 25 years worth it. Tyler spotted the box at 12:20. Ashley opened it casually, probably expecting an apology gift. The first document, the house deed. Her face changed like time-lapse fruit rotting. Confusion to disbelief to horror in 3 seconds. She dropped it. Tyler snatched the paper. What do you mean it's in his name? The spreadsheet came next. Every payment, every loan, every gift documented. Total, $420,000 over 12 years. Her hand shook. Photographs. Tyler at WinStar Casino last Tuesday. Timestamps clear. Losses written on his face. The promissory note he'd signed. Ashley's texts to friends, printed and highlighted. Dad's too pathetic to say no. He'll cave. He always does. At 12:23, Ashley's phone buzzed. First credit card decline. Then another. Chase, American Express, Nordstrom, all suspended at midnight. Tyler tried calling his bookie at 12:24, who informed him credit extensions required collateral, not promises. Ashley collapsed onto my porch steps, designer dress crumpling against concrete. She found the USB drive at 12:25. Her own voice echoed from the phone's speaker. Just take whatever he gives you. He's too pathetic to say no. Then Tyler's threat. These aren't bank people, Dave. The prenup appeared last. Page 47, highlighted. Gambling addiction clause. Forfeiture of marital assets if debts exceed $50,000. Tyler had passed that threshold 3 years ago. He threw the briefcase at my door at 12:27. Hermes leather scattered like expensive trash. Mrs. Rodriguez emerged from next door. I'm calling police if you don't leave. This is my father's house, Ashley screamed. Not anymore. Mr. Carson sent the transfer notice this morning. You're trespassing. Tyler stormed to the Mercedes, leaving Ashley gathering scattered papers. Her fortune now just litter. At 12:45, exactly when Ashley discovered her inheritance had evaporated, I was watching Texas Longhorns graze on my ranch, drinking iced tea Manuel's wife had brought over. Tom called Monday with updates. Ashley returned Sunday with a locksmith who refused once he verified ownership. She tried climbing the fence until security responded. Police gave her a trespass warning. Tyler never came back. Divorce papers already filed. 3 days later, sitting on my ranch porch with Linda reading beside me, Tom asked if I wanted complete footage. No, I said, watching hawks circle. I've seen enough. The next week unfolded through Tom's reports. Ashley sold everything designer, got $35,000, nowhere near Tyler's $120,000 casino debt. Every lawyer said the same. You'll need a retainer. She had nothing. Tyler vanished. Creditors kept coming. By month's end, she was working at HEB, $14.50 an hour, less than she used to tip baristas. Linda told me Ashley cried in the parking lot after her first shift. Not from shame, from realizing that money she earned was actually hers. I didn't stay in Mexico. After 2 weeks, I drove back to Texas, to the Fredericksburg ranch my father left me, the one Ashley never knew about because it wasn't fancy enough to Instagram. The ranch sat on 40 acres of hill country prairie. No marble floors, no designer furniture, just a modest 3-bedroom house with a wraparound porch, weathered wood, and honest simplicity. Days fell into rhythm I'd forgotten existed. Sunrise with my coffee, watching deer graze, mending fences my father built, teaching English twice a week at the community center, mostly to the children of Mexican workers at nearby vineyards. They called me Senor David and paid me in homemade tamales. My blood pressure dropped 30 points in 6 weeks. I stopped 3 medications. The migraine that had plagued me for years disappeared completely. Evenings, I sat on the porch with a book and Shiner beer, listening to cicadas instead of demands. Jake drove up most Fridays, bringing news from the dealerships and six-packs of Lone Star. "She's working 2 jobs now," Jake reported one evening, not looking at me. "Heb during the day, Denny's at night." I drank my beer, said nothing. "Saw her at the H-Eb on Bee Cave last week. Didn't recognize her at first. Hair in a ponytail, no makeup, wearing that green vest. She was helping some old lady reach something on a low shelf. Patient, kind. She learning? Hasn't asked for money. That's progress." Jake was quiet for a moment, watching the sun set over the hills. Then, "You know, another man would have rescued her by now, written the check, fixed the problem." "Yeah. But you're not another man, Dave. You're her father, and maybe this—" He gestured at the empty land around us. "Maybe this is the only way to actually save her, by not saving her." That's when I knew I'd done the right thing. The hard thing and the right thing are usually the same thing. Took me 58 years to learn that. 4th month at the ranch, Linda called. Ashley found the storage unit. I was fixing a fence post, phone tucked against my shoulder. "And?" She cried when she saw the savings bond. $50,000, matured next year. "And your note." I'd written it the night before I left. For when you remember who you were before money mattered. "Dad." "Did she ask about me?" "She asked if you were happy." I looked out at the Texas prairie. Everything simpler here. Honest. Real. Tell her yes. And tell her she has to pay her own way if she wants to visit. "David, I mean it, Linda. No money, no help. She buys her own bus ticket or she doesn't come." Linda was quiet. Then, she mentioned saving for Christmas. First time in 5 years she's used that word. Saving, instead of needing. After we hung up, I sat on the porch steps, looking at land my father had worked with his own hands. He'd taught me about hard work, about earning what you have. Somehow, I'd forgotten to teach Ashley the same lessons. Until now. May brought news through Tom. Tyler had been arrested at Windstar Casino in Oklahoma. Check fraud, $40,000, 18 months federal prison. The IRS was auditing Ashley. Tyler had used her social security number for loans she never knew about. June. Ashley got promoted at HEB, department lead, $18 an hour. July, she moved to a 1-bedroom apartment in Pflugerville, $700 a month, paid with her own money. August. Tom forwarded an email Ashley sent him. Subject, message from my father, Mr. Bradley. "Please tell my father I understand now. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm surviving. Maybe that's the lesson. I don't want his money anymore. That's not bravado. I'll need that bond eventually for a better apartment. But I want it to be seed money for the life I'm building, not rescue from the life I'm living. Tell him he can come back when he's ready. Not to save me, just to see me, the real me. Don't tell him I asked. But is he happy? Ashley." I read it 3 times on the porch that evening. Linda sat beside me, painting another terrible landscape. "You going to respond?" she asked. Tom already did. Told her I'm happy. Told her about Christmas, if she saves enough. Think she will? If she wants it badly enough. A hawk circled overhead, hunting. Life here was simple. Work hard, earn what you need, appreciate what you have. Ashley was learning those lessons the way I should have taught them from the start, through experience, not explanation, through consequences, not rescue. September arrived with cooler evenings. I started volunteering at the food bank in Fredericksburg. Met people who worked 3 jobs and never complained. People who understood the value of $1 because they'd earned every one. I thought about Ashley often. Wondered if she was learning the same lessons. Wondered if, when we finally saw each other again, We'd recognize the people we'd become. Mid-August, I made a decision. Time to go back, not to rescue, just to witness. I called Tom. Book me a flight to Austin, August 15th. She doesn't know? No, I want to see her natural life, not a performance. Where will you find her? Heb on Bee Cave. She works until 6. August 15th, 2025. I landed at Austin Bergstrom at 10:17 a.m. 5 months felt like 5 years. The rental was a modest Accord. I drove past my dealerships, thriving without me, past Ashley's old neighborhood where new families lived uncomplicated lives, checked into a Hampton Inn, part of my new life, comfort without excess. At 4 o'clock, I stood in the produce section of Hebe on Bee Cave, watching from across the store. Ashley knelt beside an elderly woman, helping her reach something on a low shelf. Patient, kind. The Ashley I knew would have called another employee. She'd changed. Lean but strong, moving with purpose. Hair in a simple ponytail. Sheb vest, clean but worn, no makeup. Beautiful in a way I'd never seen before. Honest. At 5:30, I approached. "Excuse me, where would I find the coffee?" She turned, froze. "Dad." We stood 5 feet apart, 5 months, 500 lessons between us. She looked thinner, but her eyes were clearer than I'd seen in years, hands rough from work. No more $80 manicures. "Dad." Her voice broke. Neither of us moved for 3 seconds. Then we both stepped forward at the same time. The hug lasted 45 seconds. No apologies. No explanations. None needed. Her body said everything. "I'm sorry. I understand. I've grown up." When we pulled apart, she whispered 4 words. "I understand now, Dad." 4 words, worth more than $420,000. At 6:30, I climbed stairs to her apartment in Pflugerville. She'd changed from her uniform into worn jeans and a t-shirt, both clean, clearly secondhand. The apartment was tiny, but immaculate. 1 chair, 1 stool. She gave me the chair. "It's not much. It's yours. That makes it everything." On the wall, our graduation photo. On the counter, my letter from the storage unit, creased from reading. On a small bookshelf, library books about financial planning. I cooked pasta with groceries she had. Basic, but fresh. We hadn't cooked together since she was 10. "Mom says you're at the ranch, teaching English. Volunteering, to workers' kids. For free? The best things I've done lately have been free." We ate at her small table. Mismatched plates and forks, better than any country club dinner. "I hated you," she said suddenly. "I know. I mean, really hated you. Wanted you gone forever. I know that too. How could you leave me with nothing? How could I leave you with everything?" I set down my fork. It was killing you, killing both of us. Silence settled between us, not uncomfortable, necessary. She showed me her budget notebook. Income, expenses, savings, all tracked in her neat handwriting. "I'm taking accounting classes online. Maybe get certified." "That's good, Ashley." "Tyler's in prison, Oklahoma. Check fraud." I heard. "I'm glad he's gone. Not because of prison, because I'm finally making my own choices." Does that make sense? Perfect sense. At 9 o'clock, she needed to prepare for her Denny's shift. I pulled out an envelope. "This isn't rescue. It's investment." Inside, a check for $5,000 and a contract. "What's this?" "Business proposal. You work for me. Not at dealerships. New project. Teaching financial literacy to young adults. You know the cost of not knowing." "Dad, I'm not qualified." "You're uniquely qualified. You've been both sides. Rich without understanding, poor with awakening." She read the contract carefully. "Fair salary? Performance-based raises? No special treatment? This isn't charity. This is business. You fail, you're fired. Daughter or not." And if I succeed, then you'll have succeeded on your own merit. She hugged me again. Not transaction, connection. I'll read this 3 times before I answer. That's what you'd tell me to do, right? That's exactly what I'd tell you. Thanksgiving 2025. Ashley hosted in her house, a modest 2-bedroom in Pflugerville she'd bought with her savings and that matured bond. The one she actually owned. Linda brought sides. I brought wine. Mike Ramirez and his family came, found family mixing with real. We sat around Ashley's table. Nothing fancy, all hers. She'd made green bean casserole, the first dish she learned to cook. Burned the edges, but she'd made it herself. Ashley raised her glass. To family. Linda added, to lessons learned. To starting over, Mike said. I finished. To the courage to save yourself. We clinked glasses, some crystal, some not. Perfect imperfection. Later, Ashley showed me her workshop materials. She'd taught 3 classes already, 20 students each. Young people learning what she'd learned the hard way. Tyler married some widow in Tulsa, she mentioned casually. Heard it through friends. The cycle's repeating. Not our problem anymore. No, not anymore. Walking to my truck, she stopped me. Dad? Thank you. For what? For loving me enough to let me fall, for trusting me enough to know I'd get back up. I hugged my daughter, the one I'd raised, the one who'd been lost, the one who'd found herself. The fortune I'd spent my life building was nothing compared to the wealth in that moment. A daughter's respect, earned not inherited. A family healed not through money, but through its absence. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the chance to save themselves.